All right, so now we're going to talk about your Google Drive. If you watched the last video and signed up for a Gmail account, or if you already have one, all you need to do is sign in. And once you open up a Google page, you'll notice up here at the top you have Gmail, your images, what I call the Rubik's Cube, and I'm signed in. If you don't know how to find this, once again, type in Google in the search box and go to google.com and sign in. I'm already signed in, but you'll see the sign in window. And then what we want to do is we want to click on this Rubik's Cube right here. You can see if I hover over it, it says Google Apps. So we'll click that. Now this gives you a window of a lot of the popular apps. So you can see here's our drive. We can go to Gmail from here, Docs, Contacts, which you were shown in the Gmail video, Slides, and Sheets. And if I scroll down, you can see a lot of other cool features. Sites, that's actually a free website building tool. You can build a personal website and actually publish it with a Google link, and you can actually have a free website. Okay. The Drive is really like a free storage space. Now, if you have a community college email, Gmail address, you have unlimited space. Personal, I think they give up to like 15 gigabytes. So Google Docs would be the equivalent of Microsoft Word. Google Slides is the equivalent of Microsoft PowerPoint. And Google Sheets is the equivalent of Microsoft Excel. And they actually translate very well between the two, meaning that you could upload a Microsoft Word doc to your Google Drive and open it as a Google Doc and share it with a lot of different people. Or vice versa. You could create a Google Doc and download it to your desktop and share it as, you can download it from your desktop as a Microsoft Word doc, and then you would have an actual Microsoft document that will open up in Word. But for now, I'm going to open up Drive. And remember, this is cloud-based storage, so we don't want to store anything personal in this drive. Basically, if the company were to get hacked, you don't want somebody to get a hold of information that would be harmful. So we keep documents and videos and different things of that nature that it wouldn't really matter if somebody got this document or video or any of the data that's in this drive, okay? So just keep that in mind when you're storing things here in your Google Drive. Now, the few things I'll go over here on the left-hand side, you can see I'm in my drive. You may have shared drives, you may not, depends on your company. We have recent, which is the recent documents that we've opened. Shared with me is anything that's been shared by somebody else. So let's say I shared a folder with you or a document. You could find it right here with the shared with me, especially when you end up with a drive that starts to get very busy like mine. I have a lot of information here. So when people share documents with me, I try to keep them organized. And again, like in the Gmail video, there is a starred, so you can star documents, you can star folders. And if you notice, if I go to this AutoCAD right here, if I right click this, it brings up a menu where I can share this whole folder. I can get a shareable link, which I'll go over that here in a little bit. And then right here though, add to starred. If I wanted to add to that link right there, I just click that. You see the star, and then over here it will be in my starred menu. So that's pretty important if you start to get a lot of folders and files in here, especially if you're working with something on a regular basis. You may want to star it, and it'll just sit right here in this link. It'll also be here in your drive, but like I said, this is the easy way to find it, is to come over to the starred. All right, now if we go here to this new, if I left click this, you'll notice that I can create a new folder, just a brand new folder right here, just like you would do on your PC or your Mac. You could just create a folder to help organize, and you see I have a lot of different folders. Here's where we can upload a file, and here's where we can upload a folder. Now the important thing about this folder upload, if you're not using Google Chrome, let's say you're an Internet Explorer or Firefox, you won't have this option. The only option you'll have is the file upload. So best practice is to work in Google Chrome, that browser, so that you have all the options right here, okay? And then you notice we can open up a new Google Doc, we can open up a Google Sheet, Slides, and if I click this more, there's a lot of other apps that you can use, like forms and drawings and different things of that nature. So you can see by clicking on the new, you can open up a lot of different things. So just to recap about your drive, if you want to upload a file or a folder from your desktop, meaning that let's say you have a Microsoft Word doc that you want to share with somebody, you can actually just go to New and click on File Upload. It will bring you to your File Explorer. You can choose your file and upload it, and then it will upload as a single document. Now, if you want to upload a whole folder, you would click the folder upload, and you can upload a whole folder. If I want to put a document in a folder, then you would create a new folder, and I'll just go ahead and say test folder and create. They do store alphabetically, so as you notice, I have a lot of folders, so I would scroll down to the T, and you would open it. So we would just open a folder, and here's where I could add another file or a folder. So if I wanted to organize my test folder, and I could just add documents like that, create the folder, and then upload files or folders into this folder right here to keep your drive organized. So while we're here, let's go ahead and just create a document. I'll show you how this works and actually give you an insight to another app here other than just the drive. So if we go to New and I click on Google Docs, right here is a brand new document. And we can name the document by left clicking up here and highlighting this, and we'll just call this test document. And as I type, watch closely to the right. You're going to watch it create the path and actually save it, which is really neat about Google Docs and all the apps, because it will save automatically. It's not like Microsoft where you have to save often. This will make changes it will save your changes every so many seconds. So we'll call this test doc. And then I'm going to click out here and I'll watch saving. It created the path and saved it to my drive. And by that I mean we created this test folder right here, right? So if I close this document, there's the test document that we just created, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and open this up again. And this is just like Microsoft Word. If you have any experience with Microsoft Word, you have the ribbon up here with all the different tools. You can create this document and then you can actually share it with people. And you can share it by, I'll close this out. Here's our document. We have two options here. So you have to have it highlighted. So if I just click, we can actually click on this little person right here and share this via email, meaning that I have the option of typing in emails right here, and it will actually share via email to the people that you type in here. Or we can actually just get a link, and we can do that by clicking this link right here and copying the link. Now, what I want to show you, this is important. If you notice right here, it says restricted, okay? So you're going to want to set your permissions. And if I click this little drop down arrow, I have the option of Virginia Community Colleges or anyone with the link. Right now, restricted, nobody with this link will be able to open this document. And because this is a Virginia Community College account, I have this option, or I can just say anyone with the link. So let's say I have some friends and I create a document here in my drive. I can go ahead, click on anyone with the link, and then I can copy this link and send it to them. The other thing I wanted to show you was, see this viewer right here? If I click this drop down, I have the ability to give them editing rights, commenting rights, or view. So right now it's set to view only, meaning that if I don't want any changes done to my document, this is the setting I want to select. If I just want you to look at it, this is what I'll select. Now, if I want you to edit it, if I want you to be able to contribute to my document, I would click editor, okay? And then we'll just copy the link, and then you would paste it in an email and send it to somebody. So most apps work just like that. If you use the Google Docs, Slides, Sheets, share permissions are basically the same. So those are the two ways that you can share the different documents that you create, okay? And then up here again, we have our trash bin, and we can send them to trash. Along with that, we created this document right inside our drive, okay? So we're working in the Drive app. We weren't working from the Google Doc app. We created the doc and it allowed us to work in it. But if you actually wanted to work within the actual Google Doc app, you would go up here to your apps, click on it, and then select Docs. Now notice this is a little different. This actually gives you all the features of the app, not just creating a document. So you can actually create a blank document, and then there are templates. You have a template gallery, and you can actually choose different templates. So you can see we have essays and reports, lesson plans, letters. So it's a pretty robust app, and slides and sheets actually works the same way. So if you don't have access to Microsoft Office, this is a great alternative, is to create yourself a Google account. You would have the Gmail, and then you have access to all these apps like Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides.
All right, well, welcome back. We are picking up where we left off before. We're really going to talk a little bit more on Summer Skill Up with myself, Marie Holly, and Dave Laraway on really like the job search. We talked a little bit last time about assessment. What would be the right kind of job for us? What's our niche? And now we're going to think more about the job search. We will talk about resumes before we're finished, but this middle part, we're going to talk about the job searching. And so I want you to remember that the job search is like fishing. You know, you ask others, how did they land that big one? And what was the material they used? What was it? Maybe you had the right skill or background to get the job. Do you? That's like the bait. What was the right time? What were they looking? Was the employer needing your help? And then how did you kind of adjust your approach to looking? And so when we look for a job, it's not just a one and done. It's a process. And so I always tell students like fishing, you got to put it in at the right time. You got to use the right bait. You got to be patient. Sometimes you got to, move downstream or upstream, or wherever it might be. So I want you to kind of think about that with the job search. People get very frustrated. Think, I applied for something I didn't hear. Where did it go? Well, maybe it wasn't the right material. Maybe it wasn't the right time. And sometimes it's patience and a little persistence. And so I want you to keep that in mind with job searching. Some of the important elements that we do with job searching really are networking or connecting. They're actually two different things. Networking is about knowing a lot of people. Connecting is knowing more about those people. So you think to yourself, I may belong to the Rotary or the Lions Club or PTO at my children's school, or maybe I'm in an activity that I volunteer and I know people, but how do I connect with them? So connecting is knowing about people more. Did you know that 80% of jobs are really never even advertised? They're really through people that you might know. Remember the last time you hired a plumber or went out to get a new restaurant, you asked about around, like, what did you use? Or what was that restaurant like? A lot of that is like the job searching and job, employment. So you want to do that connecting point. You want to connect beyond just knowing people. You want to connect with what are they doing? What do they do for their organization? How you connect with that, and kind of get to know them a little bit more. Then they're going to get to know you. Another thing you want to think about is setting goals for your search. How many apply for? What skills do I need? Like the fact that we've been doing this skills program with Dave's portion with the computer skills. Some of you will end up taking a class with Germana. It will be to help your literary skills, your computer literary skills. I've done a lot of work this summer with a couple of different agencies, and the big thing that they're hearing is everybody wants a virtual job. Why wouldn't we? We know it's safe, we know it's easy, but if you don't have the skills, then it might not be the right thing. So getting the skills for you in order to get that next job. So setting goals for searching and looking. The next thing I want you to do is tell people you're looking for a job. Maybe a new career path. You've gone back to school. You've taken a computer class and you're like, wow, this is really what I didn't know I had skills in. Telling people that you're looking for something different is that connecting point. And I want you to do that, okay? So very important that you're setting some goals for yourself and you're letting others know. So what's my strategy? My target job zone. Maybe I want to work in healthcare. Maybe I want to work in insurance. Maybe I want to work in education. Target my job zone. Did you know that Tuesdays, for some reason, is a good day to apply for jobs? Think about it. Mondays, hiring managers get back. They've got the weekend off their, they've come off the weekend. They're looking at 3 days worth of email. They don't really look at focus that, but Tuesday they get into that. And so think for some reason Tuesday's a really good job to kind of send some stuff to hiring managers, to follow up on things, even to initially apply. Thursday, again, 2 days later, you apply, you get a little more time of the week. Don't wait till Friday, but following up with any information. So a bit of a strategy is to think about Tuesdays for applying, Thursdays for follow-up, leave Friday and Mondays alone. Think about in our own world. Monday's really busy when we get back to work. Friday, we're already kind of engaged in some things to wrap up for the weekend that may not really be necessarily focused on hiring somebody. So I want you to put that as part of your strategy. I want you to think about this and think to yourself, how can I start getting myself out there with other folks and letting them know? So I want you to think about this approach. Dear Ms. Doe, I've been following your career on LinkedIn for a while, and we're connected with Bob Smith, and I'm so impressed with how quickly you've assumed a leadership role in your company. It's inspiring. I'm contemplating a career shift later this year, and I'd love to learn more about your story and your experience with your company. Would you mind chatting with me for 20 minutes about your career? I'm happy to talk anytime at your convenience over a cup of coffee or via the phone. Thank you for your time, Christy. Now, you think about you're not really asking for a job. You're just saying, I'm really impressed with what you're doing. You're starting to get beyond networking into connecting. You want to know more about Ms. Doe. You're impressed with what she's been doing. You kind of want to go that path. She hopefully will communicate back saying, hi, Christy, tell me a little bit about what you're interested in. So, well, I'm interested in working in education. I love counseling people. I would love to have a chat with you more about what it's like to be a career counselor. And so you have that conversation. I do that all the time with folks. I have a 15, 20-minute conversation with grad students, people looking to change career paths, obviously our own students. And in this age that we're living in right now, maybe it won't be a cup of coffee, but it certainly could be a phone call or a Zoom. So think about that approach. Nothing to lose, nothing to gain if you don't do it. And so it's not offensive to anybody. It's not asking for anything. It's not saying, can I have a job? It's not saying, can I have a reference? Just saying, I want to chat about your career path. People like talking about themselves. Consider this approach. So I want you to think about the search itself. There's job search engines versus job boards. What's the difference? Well, job boards typically include positions by the employers. Germanna Community College has a job board. Geico has a job board. The federal government has a job board. So you want to think about where they're putting up the jobs. Now, easily then, the other side of that is a search engine. You put up jobs as a career counselor in Virginia. You're going to get them from all over the place. They're going to be from Indeed. They're going to be from a number of different places. And those are where all that aggregate information comes together from the job boards into a search engine, just as if you're doing a Google search, and you can begin to look for those. And so you're going to look for things that are going to be pulled off of job listings, from job boards, company websites, all of those important areas pulled together at once. Important to look at both, because there may be some things on the employer job board, their website, that will never make it to a search engine for a number of reasons, or it may take longer to get to the search engine. So when we go back to thinking about our approach, the industry you might want to work in might be in a hospital system, might be for an insurance company. Pick that one and make sure you look at their job board or often their website for their jobs often. It might take a little bit longer to actually get to that big aggregate search engine. So if you get to it quicker, you might be into the pool and go from there. So there's job search sites that I like. I like Indeed. It's easy, you can narrow down information. I think Career Builder is still really good. Glassdoor gives you some really relevant information about salaries that help you. You might not want to change jobs if it's not going to help you pay the bills that you're already paying. Monster, using LinkedIn is important. LinkUp is one that's great. ZipRecruiter, and of course USA Jobs, where you're going to find your federal jobs and all that information that's really important out there if you want to work for the federal government. So I like these job sites right here. I'll leave those up for just a moment for you to look at those. And you can put in lots of information. A lot of them have an ability for you to post a resume and go to their company website to look at a little more information. So keep those in mind. At Germanna, we have a couple of great things that we love to have students look at. One is Career Coach. And Career Coach, and I'll go to that in a few moments when we finish, but Career Coach is a link that tells you about jobs that are relevant in their area, the growth rate of them, what education you need, and they link to Germanna's education. So if there's something that you need to be better suited, better equipped for that position, it might be more education. We can help you with that at Germanna. So career coach is great. We'll show you that one in just a moment. The other one I want to offer to all of you that are watching this is that we offer what's called a resume writing tool. And we're going to, in our next session, talk more about resume writing. But it's the College Central Network, and it's a resume writing tool, job posting board, or really, we post jobs there from all over. And it's a great intuitive way to write a really concise resume. We have hundreds and hundreds of vetted employers that are eligible to see students' resumes and other people's resumes that want them to be seen by employers. And these are companies that we work with on a regular basis. So I highly encourage folks to use College Central Network. So again, we want you to think about what you're selling. You're the product, sell yourself. And so we're going to talk next time about a resume as an advertisement. It advertises you, your unique skills and qualifications, and it stresses the benefits you have to offer. Think of yourself as a product and the employer as the consumer. And how would you want to sell yourself? What do you want to look like? You know, I always tell students, the employer is the buyer. They're going to pay you for a service. You're going to get paid for it. But are you bringing the right skill, the right resource to them? It has to be seen through their resume. You're marketing yourself. And the job posting tells you what the buyer's thinking, right? So if you look at that job posting and it tells you they want someone with, ability with Microsoft Office, excellent customer service, ability to work with diverse population, and maybe an associate's degree. Do you have those things? It's just told you what they're looking for. That's what the buyer wants, the employer. Do you have listed what they are searching for? So don't just assume, oh, I've written a resume, so they know I have Microsoft Office. You have to make sure that it's presented in that way. I want you to, if you don't have everything, think about what transferable skills you do have that might benefit that company because you know what they do. The ability to speak a second language, the ability, you've lived all in different parts of the country, maybe you're military or military dependent or spouse, and you have the ability to relate to different populations and diversity. And that's a good transferable skill for any industry. So thinking about how you're going to relate that. So again, you're looking for a job, you're the product, the employer is the buyer. Think about how you market yourself, okay? And simply, are you a match to the job description? Can you show a clear match between your skills and the job requirements? Do you meet the key skills and experience and attributes the employer is looking for? Are you using similar keywords in your resume? Now, we often hear about word pull. Not necessarily all companies do that, very few do. But they look for keywords that relate to what's actually in their job description. So making sure that you're highlighting those, whether it be this, and I wanted to, I always say, don't bury the lead. Don't put the stuff they're looking for on page 2 or at the bottom. Try to put it at the front. Make the most relevant information they're looking for on that first page. So when they go to look at your resume, they can see that clearly. Because, there's that 30-second rule. A resume gets about a 30-second rule. We'll talk more about resumes in our next discussion, but the 30-second rule, if that. So you think about they want someone with Microsoft Office, customer service, possibly an associate's degree, the ability to work with diverse populations. That, right, looking at those 5 or 6 things, I want to be able to look as the employer, the buyer, I want to be able to look quick and clearly at a resume and find that concisely and well written. If not, it may go into the circular file. I wanted to go to the next pile of saying, I want to take a more in-depth look at this person. And that's really what you want, okay? So we want to make sure that your resume is worth reading, enthusiastic, upbeat, strong, professional, and most relevant points first. But use your honesty and high impact words to help that, okay? So I kind of want to leave it at that because I know that we will talk a little bit more about resumes. I'm going to jump off and I'm going to bring it to the career coach because I want you to know where that link is on Germanna. Okay, so this is actually the career and transfer site for Germanna Community College. It ordinarily comes to the main page for Germanna. I wanted to kind of start here because there's some information you could look at if you like. But mostly I wanted to take you to Career Coach. And Career Coach is an open site that anybody can use. We encourage our community members, our students, anybody that's interested to come here. You can take an assessment like we talked about earlier, where you can go in here and there's a number of assessments you can take, some that are more lengthy, a 6-question one to kind of get started, or a more in-depth one. And those are a great place to start. And then I want you to think about, you can browse careers. And so we'll put in healthcare. And we're going to get some really cool information that comes up from this site right here. And this, again, is accessible off the homepage, just as a community member, anybody that wants to. We can look at healthcare, social workers, big trend in this. We'll click on that one. And we can see that in the Fredericksburg area, because this is completely for our region right here, we have our region down here on the right, and we make it so that it's our service industry in which we service for our students in our different campuses. But you could go out further if you'd like. But there's about 19 annual jobs in that area. The median salary is about $53,000. You can even go here and see live postings, case managers, licensed eligible social worker. You can even begin to see programs that would go along with that. Business, health science, humanities and art. And these are programs that we offer at Humana that come under that same area. And there's even a little bit of a resume builder tool. But I love students to start with this. You can do a sign in, login. Again, you do not need to be a Humana student in order to access this, but I wanted you to make sure that you knew that it was there. You can even browse programs at Humana. Health, we'll put in health. Allied preparation, which should be a very beginning program with us. It's a career studies certificate. You can go here and look at view the program information. It tells you what the curriculum is, the different occupational objectives, and then the curriculum that goes with it. It's a pretty brief program that goes with that as well. And then even help with applications, medical service managers, informatic nurses, and so forth. And so I just like students to really, or anybody in the community, to access Career Coach, because I think it's a great starting point to come to for this.